What's going on, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes, always delivering the big names in combat sports. Today we get to talk to Mike Perry, who's now doing his thing. We've met him through MMA, but now he's doing his thing over at Bare Knuckle. Probably the biggest name over at Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship right now. He is blowing up, and guess what? He is headlining Knuckle Mania 4, which is coming up in April in Los Angeles against Thiago Alves, also another former MMA fighter, title contender. This is going to be a great one. What's up, Mike? How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good, guys. Good to be one of the best fighters out there right now, and I'm happy to be here and talk to the people. Times are crazy, I say when people ask, how you doing, whatever. It's definitely always I'm doing good, because I don't like to dive too deep into the BS, and I like to stay positive, no matter how things are going. Stuff happened, like just yesterday and today. I've been thinking a lot about the Ryan Garcia stuff, like, because it keeps popping up. It's very popular topic, and there's a lot of stuff going on. Like, I don't see a way for that kid to win in that fight against Devin Haney, especially with all of this stuff that's happening outside of fighting for him. That he seems to be an issue before he ever even steps into the ring. So I'm out here. When I say I'm good, I'm trying to keep my head together no matter what's sinking. And, you just have to stay positive and keep growing, keep going, keep learning, and try to be better. Stay positive, man.
What do you think? What do you think happens with a lot of combat sports athletes? Even his promoter, Oscar De La Hoya, has had his times as well, where you have the world at your feet. Success, belts, money. I know you can't speak for them, but it seems like you really embrace the culture of fighting, and I think therefore maybe perhaps you can answer why maybe it just becomes too much for a lot of fighters, and they have this, sort of I don't know if you want to call it like a digression or meltdown or what it is.
Yeah, I feel like meltdowns happen a lot. It happens, and over course of my life, I feel like I've had a few, and some have been worse than others. And after you have them, sometimes it's a little easier to put things back together. But you try to maybe see them coming and try to defend yourself from them, and that bottle just fills up until the top pops off, and things happen. You try to control and keep with that positive attitude. Guys like us, we probably need more therapy, bro. We probably need someone to talk to, someone to talk to us, maybe, and there can be a lot of pressure. I mean, I'm sure with Ryan, he's feeling the pressure. He might not see a way that he could beat Devin Haney, and maybe that can add up on you. And sometimes it's not even the fight. Sometimes it's just life, things that are happening in life that can build up on you. And what is great about fighting is that the physical challenges you face can be a type of therapy. After you go and you work out, you can really clear your mind when you really gas yourself out and you get tired, and you don't think about it for a little while, and you clear your head because you're just so busy in the moment working on your physicalities. And we're all out here trying to figure out life, and fighting is actually, it's a release, it's a freedom that we get as men who compete in a physical sport. So it's nice to be a fighter, man. I got a love hate relationship with it for sure.
You mentioned that you may have kind of gone through something like that. Would you say it's a daily struggle, or is that behind you? And do you think you got a good grasp on how life and being a fighter works together?
No, it comes and goes. I think that I don't know sometimes. And I mean, right when you think that you do know what's going on or what you think you got a grasp of, usually that's when it hits you and like you're like, you damn, I don't have a grasp on anything. So, I've been saying for a couple of years now, like, to be the line, and you don't want to be too far on either side of the line, and that's kind of helped me be grounded. And because you don't want to be too crazy and you don't want to be too casual. Sometimes you gotta watch your back when you're out there, and other times you can relax, and you need to know how to do both. You need to know how to relax and find comfort, and you know training definitely helps, but like, so tonight is sparring night. I'm probably gonna go and get hit a couple times, and I don't know, it'll either make me feel better. I'm gonna try not to get hit. Maybe I'll feel even better if I don't, but I'm sure my training partners are gonna land some shots on me tonight, and I might have a moment of despair in my night as my brain is healing. And sometimes, so like my friend, he had a fight. It was a world class fight, and it didn't go his way, and he was looking good, and there was things to be proud of, and then there was, he just get caught, and it's like today he finally realized, it was a couple days ago, and he's like, damn, I finally stopped, haven't, and took a look back and took a look in the mirror and was like, damn, it sucks, but what do? You just move forward. And I was actually proud of him, how he carried himself when it was over, and he's been carrying himself this way for a couple of days. And you hold your head high, and you try to give it your best shot, and it's definitely a warm up for me. I'm going into this fight April 27th. I'm training for it now. I am very confident in my capabilities, especially in this matchup. And winning fights is not, you want it to be the most important thing sometimes, but I definitely have things way more valuable to me than just winning a fight. Even though it's a big fight and it's a big opportunity, and it can change me and my family's lives, and it's weird because in the position I'm in, and I've been doing so well, when I say, change my family's lives, it's like, well, then I got to figure out what to do with all of this that I'm receiving and getting, all of the opportunities, and you just kind of go with the flow, and you let things pick up around you, and you hire people for sure to help you put things in the right place, to help you keep growing and make it sustainable for your family and your future and your growth. And definitely the right team around you is a big part of that, which in the fight game, some fighters, I was definitely a fighter who thought this is an individual thing. But for a while now, I've noticed all that I receive from a team of people around me, even those who can't actually even physically train with me. Like, there's little kids at the gym, and they inspire me sometimes just because they're so young and they push so hard, and they want to be better, and they want to make a future for themselves and for their parents who support their journey and travel to all the fights with them. And it makes me think about what I'm going to do with my kids. Whatever they're going to want to do, I'm going to support them fully. And that's a lot of work. It can feel overwhelming. It feels like you have a million things on your plate. And like this morning, like last night it rained, and this morning I was looking at my driveway, and there's like been a lot of pollen and stuff here in Florida. And it's like, man, my driveway is covered in leaves and like grass and stuff from the rain and the storm last night. And it's like, dang, did my neighbors already wake up and they like brush their stuff off? Did they leaf blow their side into my side. My driveway is looking terrible right now, and I'm like, I gotta clean this up. And I'm like, gosh, my life is kind of feeling like my driveway right now, man. All I gotta do is get out there, put a little elbow grease in, and put some work in. So, I'm excited to have this journey and to be on this path. And I ain't gonna lie, man, it seems like it's gonna be a little easy win paycheck for me here April 27th if Thiago Alvarez shows up.
Yeah, he hasn't fought like in 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. He's a big name, that's for sure. But I think this card is built around you. Tell me if I'm wrong. Full respect here. Luis Palomino, I think, was 9-0, 2 titles. I think we were calling him the best bare knuckle fighter ever. He just took a loss to Austin Trout. And so, of course, maybe there's someone there to take his place. You're very popular. You've skinned some big time cats, man, some big names. Everyone's all over Mike Perry. But do you feel like what we chatted about before the interview started, you are the top guy now at bare knuckle? Or did you even feel that before Palomino's loss?
Yeah, for sure. I've been the top guy. I mean, I've been fighting big names, and these other guys that are in there, other than Lorenzo, everyone who's fought their opportunity to fight a big name, they didn't do well. And I fought big names, MVP, Luke Rockhold, Eddie Alvarez, and I stunned them every time. So, Lorenzo, he fought one of the biggest names he fought was Hector Lombard, and he was successful. So, that was a big moment for him, but I've done it time and time again. And, the thing about Thiago is he was a champion in bare knuckle, and it doesn't matter that he's had, I don't know if it was 3 years. I don't know, maybe it was like 2, maybe it was a little more than 2, I don't know. But, time out of the ring doesn't always mean, like look at Brian Ortega. He had time out of the ring. First round against Jair was not good for him, but he chose to stand and fight. And now I'm not going to sit here and toot Thiago's horn. I think I can easily win this fight if I continue to be me and do what I do in that ring. And we're fighting at 185. The one time I fought at 185, I got hit one time, and I had a very clean performance, probably my cleanest performance ever. And so I'm looking forward to being back at that weight, building my strength through training camp, and using my boxing abilities against a former bare knuckle boxing world champion who did not lose his title. He only, he took a leave from the sport because maybe there was no one for him to fight, and he wanted a bigger fight. So, the fight is here now. This is the biggest fight, and that we could make right now, because Eddie Alvarez had one bare knuckle fight, and obviously he's a world champion in all those other organizations. Luke didn't have one bare knuckle fight, and that's not to say that my experience mattered all that much, because it's just my boxing. Like, Julian had 9 bare knuckle fights when I fought him. So, Thiago being 2-0 in bare knuckle, and I'm 4-0, but he's got many more MMA fights than me against the best competition ever in mixed martial arts, like George St. Pierre and others. We watched him, do well in UFC and MMA for years. And, it's boxing. It's more fitting for me. It's how I like to fight. Now, he did it, and he did okay. And, but then he got out of there. So, if he's coming for a check, I'm going to break his neck.
So Mike, Knuckle Mania is a huge card now, and the sport has grown so much. when I heard Thiago Alves, it kind of caught me off guard a little bit too, because I thought he was just kind of done with fighting. Was he the first name that was brought up to you? Were there other names in the sweepstake? How did this all end up here with Thiago Alves?
Yeah, no, he wasn't. He wasn't really on my radar. He wasn't something that we were talking about. And then I got the call that it was him, and I figured it was going to be a name that we hadn't thought of really. And I figured it'd be fitting, and um, it's what the company wants, and you know, I'll take it. Like, let's go to work. I mean, they were trying to make the Darren Till one happen. He still sends me messages talking shit to me, but I'm like, I'm pretty sure they tried to make it happen. Why didn't you take it? And I mean, that's fine. There was also Dillon Danis they were talking about, and I don't know how big that would have been to the crowd, to the bare knuckle fans, or maybe it would have brought in many new bare knuckle fans. But considering he lost a boxing match, I don't know how much sense that would have made. And then I thought Thiago made sense because his experience, and he had a belt in bare knuckles, so it's all good.
Do you feel like maybe down the road there is the possibility of one day you and Austin Trout? That seems like a fight that a lot of people would like to see.
It's possible. He won the 165 title.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they keep fluctuating my weight, playing with my weight. 185. I fought 175 a couple times. I fought 185 a couple times. Because there's building that needs to be done. And I get it done. I mean, God makes it happen in his time, and it works out for me. And I'm super grateful that I can step in and perform the way I have. And I always look very physical. The training gets done for me. So Trout's a good boxer. He's a slick guy. Eddie had some success with his being a little. I mean, he looked big, but he still fought like a little bit smaller guy and had some speed. Trout's a good boxer. I think I could box with him. I think I could implement my size on him. But I've said before I wanted to fight for like the 185 title. They got guys up there at that size that actually are intimidating, and I think it would be tougher fights, tougher battles. But stylistically, whatever the style needs to be for me, I got plans I can put together on how to box any of these guys. So, I'll get through Thiago, and if that's something that the other side wants to earn, or if that's something that the company wants to make, I'm here to keep punching these people in the face bare knuckle and keep winning and keep that right there.
Nice. And early on in the interview, we brought up Ryan Garcia's name. And the one thing that I had thought about was, he has the benefit of leaning on a generation before him, say like an Oscar De La Hoya, right? Felix Trinidad, these types of guys. And they had the Manny Pacquiao's and Floyd Mayweather's, and even way back, Julio Cesar Chavez, all these guys. There's a history. But in BKFC, there's not much of that. If anything, they're probably leaning on you. So I guess my question is, how have you gotten to this point in your career with BKFC and sort of, in our eyes, found the right recipe? Who have you been able to lean on, and how did you figure all this out?
I've always been a big fan of boxing. I always liked the boxing, brawling. I always liked Mike Tyson. I mean, it's boxing at the end of the day. I don't care about the couple of different rules that bare knuckle has. I'm trying to be the best boxer that I can be, and I've always had the toughness and the tenacity. And I did look at, yes, bare knuckle is the first like sanctioned real big organization in the States and around the world, there's always been bare knuckle fights. Game Bread, Jorge Masvidal, Kimbo Slice, those guys, growing up, that was stuff I watched on YouTube and saw. And there's I remember hearing stories about some bare knuckle boxer back in the day, and I just watched fighters, and I implemented what they did. Old school Anderson Silva. I like to think of myself as an old school fighter, even with the guys with the gloves on. Back in the day, coming up, Rampage Jackson, Vandalay the Axe Murderer. I just always been a fan of the best fighters and tried to implement some things and make it my own and create my own style and swagger. And I'm from Flint, Michigan. I was born in Flint, Michigan, and I was raised in a little bit of Flint, a little bit of Florida, and there, you put those two things together and you got Platinum Mike Perry and who's from Michigan, it's Floyd Mayweather and
Thomas
my
Hearns.
name is Mike, so try to be like Mike Tyson, and just fight it out, bro.
Thomas Hearns is from Michigan as well.
Hearns, huh?
Emmanuel Stewart in the Kronk Gym in Detroit.
And Jamal Hill.
Hill. Yeah, some tough cats come out of Michigan for sure. That belt, before you pointed to it, I couldn't take my eyes off it. It's actually really nice. It's a big MFer as well. Can you grab it for us and show it to us? I guess I've never seen it up close, and if you don't mind.
I was going cross-eyed between the Mandalorian helmet and the belt. They both look sharp.
Can you imagine breaking into that house and then you see that belt and you see that helmet? You'd be like, okay, I think I'm just gonna throw myself out.
Listen, I just won
Look at
like
that
this rifle. I don't know if it's an AR-15 or whatever, but
Look at that.
I gave it away, and then I got myself this self-defense weapon that I can have. I actually am not allowed to have a gun, but I got a self-defense weapon that I can have, and it's a handgun without it's a CO2 handgun that shoots these little pool balls at you, and it'll take somebody down, man. Shit,
wow. That's
please
crazy.
Please don't come over to my house trying to find out.
Nah, hell no. Plus, you'd probably hear us with the leaves on the driveway. You'd hear the crinkling.
I gotta go clean that shit, dude.
Did you have any words with Masvidal? I know that fight you were referencing, your boy Alex Nicholson. I think you're a hell of a corner man too, man. You were getting me psyched up for the fight just as you guys were getting ready to walk out. But you mentioned Kimbo and Jorge. Did you have a chance to talk to Jorge at all and talk about that culture? I guess the early days.
Yeah, we. You know what, man? During his week or whatever, he was very busy. I did get to speak to him on my podcast, Overdogs podcast, and Jorge is in a great place, and he's doing big things, and he means well for his fighters that fight for him and his organization because he came up fighting. So it's a little different than some organization owners who were never really fighters. I don't know. He's given the fighters a lot of respect, and I talked to him for a little bit, and he was rooting. I mean, may the best man win, but he was definitely giving us attention that was hopefully going to go towards being the big victors. Not to say that he wasn't giving it to the other side, but he was friendly all around, and it's cool to see because Jorge, watching him fight and talk, say the things he had to say in build-ups to his fights. He's just a guy like, one of the homies, and we all out here trying to live better lives and be better people and, get money so that us and our family can be good and taken care of, and then we can actually enjoy life, take some vacations, eat some good food, things like that. You know, Jorge's an upstanding man, real person, very real. You know what I mean? So I definitely can look up to that. I try to be very real. I think I am very real. I don't know if I know another way. You know, sometimes I say the first thing I think of, and I'm like, I cringe at my mouth sometimes. But other people, they've been showing me love and respect, you know, and I just definitely, one of my biggest mental health workouts is actually physically working out, and it just clears my mind so much. I haven't done it today because I'm going to spar tonight, so I gotta clean some stuff up, man.
I feel like I gotta ask this before we let you go. I've heard Overdogs. It's a fun podcast, man. Great job on
Thank
that.
you. Thank you.
I've heard you. I've seen you. You know, you're real popular. You're all over YouTube and things like that. So I've heard you. You know, what you said the other day towards Dana White, but I also heard you give a lot of love towards Hunter Campbell. So overall, was it just a moment for you, a frustration, or is it all cool? Because it sounded like you preserve a good relationship with the UFC, but even though you're BKFC, you know, you just strike me as a guy that loves combat sports in general. But is there anything you want to clear up in that regard from what
Listen,
was?
man, before my podcast, there was a lot of times that I wanted to say some rambunctious stuff. I just didn't. And my wife taught me that, you know, like she didn't really verbalize it, but by watching her, that's what I got. It's like, you know, sometimes your mouth can dig a hole and that you're gonna fall into. And I stopped myself many times from having my mouth dig a hole. You know, I don't want to burn bridges and things like that. And sometimes when I think off a whim, I don't even say the shit. There's many a times that I think I'm about to tweet some shit that I don't tweet out. And not to say that it would matter or make a difference, but it would make a difference in my life because it would probably burn something and I don't want fucking burn. So I didn't say it a lot. And now I'm doing these podcasts where I'm talking all the time. And, you know, I got no ill will towards Dana White or towards the UFC I mean, there were some times that I was like, damn, I'm kind of mad at some people in the UFC, but like, who cares? That shit's just gonna keep on churning, and you know they're a world beater. So what can you really do? So you know, I hate to sound like one of those people complaining, and that's what that rant was. It was me fucking complaining, and I got some support on it, but you know, sometimes I'm just like, damn, I just want to be quiet again and get back to training. But as a fighter, you gotta talk because you need attention so that people will watch your fight, people will buy a pay-per-view, and you have bigger numbers. Like, you know, Mayweather and McGregor are fantastic speakers. Mostly McGregor is just a world-class speaker, and they got like the most pay-per-view buys. They said Pacquiao and Mayweather was better in buys, but dude, that journey that they took, the media tour that they took through the different countries, and they put on the show talking every time, like that was probably like a once in a lifetime type of build up for a fight was Mayweather and McGregor, and I mean, I'm not as good of a talker, bro. I'm really not. So I try to be honest now. Like for example, when me and McGregor got to face off, I just tried to be factual, and he was like, "So it's you and me then, huh?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why not?" And I'm like, "I see you practicing this stuff," and I'm like, "Yeah, you know." I was trying to say, you know, you fought Cowboy. Cowboy had take my arm, and then you fought him. And he said, "What did I do to him?" I said, "I know you took him out quick. You gave me a good lesson in that show." And it, I guess, really all it did by giving him respect, it kind of diffused him. And I mean, that's what's tough about fighting, bro. It's like you got to talk the fight up. You got to make it make sense. And honestly, as far as technique goes, especially in bare knuckle boxing with no gloves, uh, no matter who I'm facing, no matter who I'm up against, I feel like I can win because I just love a good scrap, and I love all sides of it. Putting pressure on you, hitting you, uh, rolling your shots and trying to hit you back. So, the same thing goes with speaking. You roll with some punches, man. And at the end of the day, I was on a podcast last night. Shout out Philly Fresh. Um, I was saying, I was listening to a song on the way over. I said, "Man, fuck it, I'm on one. You can't dwell and sit about and on those cringe moments where you're like, I wish I said something different. Well, you didn't. You move forward and hey, fuck it, I'm on one, bro. What do y'all really want from me? I'm this crazy fighter, and I can have a conversation with somebody, but then sometimes the questions get in there and then they bounce around and I'm like, well, fuck the bullshit. Let's just throw punches."
Man, I find you entertaining as fuck. So keep doing your thing. I'm glad things are pretty much going to be cool between you guys because I'd love to see you over there at their event in Miami on Saturday, and I'd love to see them at your event in LA
Well, I can't
on the
on
27th.
Saturday.
So
I would like to go to Miami. I got people in Miami I would love, but my daughter's first birthday party is Saturday. We're having a nice celebration for her.
there you go.
She's turning 1, and we're getting the family and people together, and we're having a nice little celebration for her on Saturday. So
That sounds like a better
Congrats.
time. Yep, you do that,
thank
man.
you, man. Appreciate you guys.
Be there for your daughter, but that doesn't mean that they won't go. A lot of people are going to go to the Bare Knuckle Mania in LA. We're from LA, so we're going to be there as well.
Make sure you
And
tune in April 27th. Watch me beat the shit out of Thiago Alves.
for sure, those that want to go, it's at the Peacock Theater. Those that want to watch, streaming on the BKFC app and on Fubo TV, the king of violence himself, Mike Perry, headlines that event versus Thiago Alves on the 27th of April. So we're just about 6 weeks away, 7 weeks away. Thanks for the time, Platinum. Always great to talk to you. You always bring it. You always keep it real, and we enjoy it.
Thank you, guys.